File storage service for EC2 instances. It's easy to use and provides a simple interface that allows you to create and configure file systems quickly and easily. With EFS, storage capacity is elastic, growing and shrinking automatically as you add and remove files, so your applications have the storage they need, when they need it. Think NFS, only without a set storage limit. Supports NFS v4, and you only pay for the storage you use. Billing rate is 30 cents per GB. Can scale to exabytes. Can support thousands of concurrent NFS connections. Data is stored across multiple AZ within a region. Block-based storage. Can be shared with multiple instances. Read after write consistency. You must ensure that instances that will mount EFS are in the same security group as the EFS allocation. If they are not, you can modify the security groups, and add them to the same security group that was used to launch the EFS storage. Resource or operation. Default limit. Total throughput per file system. 3 GB/s for all connected clients. For additional information about EFS limits, see limits in Amazon EFS. Snowball. Snowball is a petabyte-scale data transport solution that uses secure appliances to transfer large amounts of data into and out of the AWS cloud. Appliance allows local import using AWS internal network. Resource or operation. Default limit. Comments. Resource or operation. Default limit. Comments. Snowball. 1. If you need to increase this limit, contact AWS support. Storage Gateway. The AWS Storage Gateway is a service connecting an on-premises software appliance with cloud-based storage to provide seamless and secure integration between an organization's on-premises IT environment and AWS's storage infrastructure. On-premise virtual appliance that can be downloaded and used to cache S3 locally at a customer's site. Replicates data to and from AWS platform. Gateway cached volumes. Entire dataset is stored on S3 and the most frequently accessed data is cached on site. These volumes minimize the need to scale your on-prem storage infrastructure while providing your applications with low latency access to their frequently accessed data. Can create storage volumes up to 32 TBs in size and mount them as ISCSI devices from your on-premises application servers. Data written to these volumes is stored in S3, with only a cache of recently written and recently read data stored locally on your on-premises storage hardware. Gateway stored volumes. Store your primary data locally while asynchronously backing up that data to AWS. Provide low latency access to their entire data sets, while providing durable, off-site backups. Can create storage volumes up to 1 TB in size and mount them as ISCSI devices from your on-premises application servers. Data written to your gateway stored volumes is stored on your on-prem storage hardware, and asynchronously backed up to S3 in the form of EBS snapshots. Gateway Virtual Tape Library, VTL. Used for backup and uses popular backup applications like NetBackup, BackupExec, and Veeam. Pricing. You pay for what you use. Has 4 pricing components. Gateway usage, per gateway per month. Snapshot storage usage, per GB per month. Volume storage usage, per GB per month. Data transfer out, per GB per month. Import/export. Import/export disk, import to EBS, S3, Glacier but only export to S3. Pay for what you use. Has 3 pricing components. Per device fee. Data load time charge per data loading hour. Possible return shipping charges for expedited shipping or shipping to destinations not local to the import/export region. 16 databases. RDS, Relational Database Service. Amazon Relational Database Service, Amazon RDS, makes it easy to set up, operate, and scale a relational database in the cloud. Amazon RDS provides you 6 familiar database engines to choose from, including Amazon Aurora, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, PostgreSQL, MySQL, and MariaDB. Traditional relational databases that include tables, rows, fields. Online transaction processing, OLTP, TypeDB. You can copy a snapshot to another region if you want to have your database available in another region. You scale your DB by taking a snapshot and doing a restore to a larger size tier. RDS maximum size for a MS SQL Server DB with SQL Server Express Edition is 10 GB per DB. Supported RDS platforms: MS SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL Server, PostgreSQL, Aurora, MariaDB. When a backup is restored, the restore will always be a new RDS instance, with a new DNS name. Backup types. Automated backups. Allows you to recover your database to any point in time within a retention period. Retention periods can be between 1 and 35 days. Takes a full daily snapshot and will also store transaction logs through the day. When you do a recovery, AWS will choose the most recent daily backup and then apply transaction logs. Allows you to do a point-in-time recover down to a second within the retention period. Enabled by default. Backup data is stored in S3. You get free storage space equal to the size of your database. Taken within a defined window. During the backup, storage I/0 may be suspended and you may experience extended latency. Database snapshots, manual. User initiated from the console. Stored even after you delete the original RDS instance, unlike automatic backups. Encryption. Encryption at rest is supported for MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, and MariaDB. Encryption is done using the AWS Key Management Service, AMS. Once your RDS instance is encrypted, the data stored at rest in the underlying storage is encrypted, as are its automated backups, read replicas, and snapshots. To use RDS encryption, create a new DB instance with encryption enabled and migrate your data to it. Encrypting an existing DB instance is not supported. Multi-AZ. Allows you to have an exact copy of your production database in another AZ. AWS handles the replication for you, so when your prod database is written to, the write will automatically be synchronized to the standby DB. In the event of DB maintenance, instance failure, or AZ failure, RDS will automatically fail over to the standby so that database operations can resume quickly without admin intervention. In a failover scenario, the same DNS name is used to connect to the secondary instance. There is no need to reconfigure your application. Multi-AZ configurations are used for HA/DR only, and is not used for improving performance. To scale for performance you need to set up read replicas. Available for SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, and Aurora. Read replicas. Uses asynchronous replication, from the primary instance to other instances that can be read from. You can have up to 5 read replicas of your main database. Aurora can have 15 read replicas. Allow you to have a read-only copy of your prod database. Used primarily for very read-heavy database workloads. SQL Server and Oracle are not supported. Used for scaling, not DR. Must have automatic backup set up. You can have read replicas of read replicas, but could incur latency as it's daisy-chained. Each read replica will have its own DNS endpoint. You cannot have read replicas that have multi-AZ. You can create read replicas of multi-AZ source databases, however. Read replicas can be promoted to be their own databases, however this breaks replication. Read replicas in a second region for MySQL and MariaDB, not for PostgreSQL. Read replicas can be bigger than the primary source DB from a resource perspective. Aurora. O MySQL-compatible relational database engine that combines speed and availability of high-end commercial databases with the simplicity and cost-effectiveness of open-source databases. O provides up to 5 times better performance than MySQL at a price point 1/10 of a commercial database while delivering similar performance and availability. O starts with 10 GB, scales in 10 GB increments up to 64 TB, storage auto-scaling. O compute resources can scale up to 32 vCPUs and 244 GB of memory. O maintains 2 copies of your data contained in each availability zone, with minimum of 3 AZs. 6 copies of your data. O designed to transparently handle the loss of up to 2 copies of data without affecting the DB write availability and up to 3 copies without affecting read availability. O designed to handle loss of up to 2 copies without affecting DB write availability. O designed to handle loss of up to 3 copies without affecting DB read availability. O self-healing storage, data blocks, and disks are continuously scanned for errors and repaired automatically. O 2 types of replicas available. Aurora replicas, separate Aurora DB, can have up to 15 replicas. MySQL Red replicas, can have up to 5. O if a failure occurs of the primary database, a failover will happen automatically to an Aurora replica, but will not auto-fail over to a MySQL read replica. O only available in certain regions, not all. Resource or operation. Default limit. Clusters. 40. Cluster parameter groups. 50. DB instances. 40. Event subscriptions. 20. Manual snapshots. 50. Manual cluster snapshots. 50. Resource or operation. Default limit. Option groups. 20. Parameter groups. 50. Read replicas per master. 5. Aurora only read replicas per master. 15. Reserved instances, purchased per month. 40. Rules per security group. 20. Security groups. 25. Security groups, VPC. 5. Subnet groups. 20. Subnets per subnet group. 20. Resource or operation. Default limit. Tags per resource. 50. Total storage for all DB instances. 100 TB. 17 DynamoDB, no. SQL. Fast and flexible NoSQL DB service for all apps that need consistent, single-digit millisecond latency at any scale. It is a fully managed database and supports both document and key-value data models. Its flexible data model and reliable performance make it a great fit for mobile, web, gaming, ad tech, IoT, and many other applications. Non-relational DB, NoSQL, comprised of collections, tables, of documents, rows, with each document consisting of key/value pairs, fields. Document-oriented DB. Offers push-button scaling, meaning that you can scale your DB on the fly without any downtime. RDS is not so easy, you usually have to use a bigger instance size or add RED replicas. Stored on SSD storage. Spread across 3 geographically distinct data centers. Eventual consistent reads, default. O consistency across all copies of data is usually reached within 1 second. O repeating a read after a short time should return updated data. O best read performance. Strongly consistent reads. O returns a result that reflects all writes that received a successful response prior to the read. Structure. O tables. O items, think rows in a traditional table. O attributes, think columns of data in a table. Provision throughput capacity. Write throughput 0.0065 per hour for every 10 units. Read throughput 0.0065 per hour for every 50 units. First 25 GB of storage is free. Storage costs of 25 cents per additional GB per month. Can be expensive for writes, but really cheap for reads. The combined key/value size must not exceed 400 KB for any given document. US East and Virginia region. Default limit. Maximum capacity units per table or global secondary index. 40,000 read capacity units and 40,000 write capacity units. Maximum capacity units per account. 80,000 read capacity units and 80,000 write capacity units. All region resource or operation. Default limit. Maximum capacity units per table or global secondary. 10,000 read capacity units. All region resource or operation. Default limit. Index. And 10,000 write capacity units. Maximum capacity units per account. 20,000 read capacity units and 20,000 write capacity units. Maximum number of tables. 256. For additional information about DynamoDB limits, see limits in Amazon DynamoDB. 18. Elasticake. Amazon Elasticake is a web service that makes it easy to deploy, operate, and scale an in-memory data store or cache in the cloud. Can be used for DB caching in conjunction with services like RDS. Web service that makes it easy to deploy, operate, and scale in-memory cache in the cloud. Improves the performance of web applications by allowing you to retrieve information from fast, managed in-memory caches, instead of relying entirely on slower disk-based databases. Improves application performance by storing critical pieces of data in memory for low latency access. Cached information may include the results of I/O-intensive database queries or the results of computationally intensive calculations. Supports 2 open-source in-memory caching engines. OMEMC8. Widely adopted memory object caching system. Elasticake is protocol compliant with MEMC8, so popular tools that you use today with existing MEMC8 environments will work seamlessly with the service. No multi-AZ support. ORedis. Popular open-source in-memory key-value store that supports data structures such as sorted sets and lists. Elasticake supports master/slave replication and multi-AZ, which can be used to achieve cross-AZ redundancy. Good choice if your DB is read-heavy and not prone to frequent changing. All region resource or operation. Default limit. Description. Nodes per region. 50. The maximum number of nodes across all clusters in a region. Nodes per cluster, MEMC8. 20. The maximum number of nodes in an individual MEMC8 cluster. Nodes per cluster, REDIS. 1. The maximum number of nodes in an individual REDIS cluster. All region resource or operation. Default limit. Description. Clusters per replication group, REDIS. 6. The maximum number of clusters in a REDIS replication group. 1 is the read/write primary. All others are read-only replicas. Parameter groups per region. 20. The maximum number of parameters groups you can create in a region. Security groups per region. 50. The maximum number of security groups you can create in a region. Subnet groups per region. 50. The maximum number of subnet groups you can create in a region. Subnets per subnet group. 20. The maximum number of all region resource or operation. Default limit. Description. Subnets you can define for a subnet group. RedShift. Fast and powerful, fully managed, petabyte-scale data warehouse service in the cloud. Customers can start small for just 25 cents per hour with no commitments or upfront costs and scale to a petabyte or more for 1,000 per TB per year. Less than a tenth of most other data warehousing solutions. Used for data warehousing/business intelligence. Uses 1024 KB/1 MB block size for its columnar storage. Tools like Conos, Jaspersoft, SQL Server Reporting Services, Oracle Hyperion, SAP NetWeaver. Used to pull in very large and complex data sets. Used by management to do queries on data such as current performance vs target. 10 times faster than traditional RDS. Massively parallel processing, MPP. Automatically distributes data and query load across all nodes. Currently only available in one AZ at a time. Can restore snapshots to new AZs in the event of an outage. 2 types of transactions. Online transaction processing, OLTP, standard transaction-driven database insert/retrieval pulls up a row of data such as name, date, etc. Online analytics processing, OLAP, pulls up a row of data such as name, date, etc. Uses different type of architecture both from a DB and infrastructure layer. Pull in data from multiple queries, gathering tons of information depending on what type of report is required. Start with single node, 160 GB. Multi-node configurations available. Leader node, manages client connections and receives queries. Compute node, store data and perform queries and computations. Can have up to 128 compute nodes. Columnar data storage. Instead of storing data as a series of rows, RedShift organizes data by column. Unlike row-based systems, which are ideal for transaction processing, column-based systems are ideal for data warehousing and analytics where queries often involve aggregates performed over large data sets. Only columns involved in the queries are processed and columnar data is stored sequentially on the storage media. Column-based systems require far fewer I/OS, greatly improving query performance. Advanced compression. Columnar data stores can be compressed much more than row-based data stores because similar data is stored sequentially on disk. RedShift employs multiple compression techniques and can often achieve significant compression relative to traditional relational data stores. Does not require indexes or materialized views, so uses less space than traditional relational DB systems. Automatically samples your data and selects the most appropriate compression scheme. Priced on 3 things. Total number of hours you run across your compute nodes for the billing period. You are billed for 1 unit per node per hour, so 3-node cluster running an entire month would incur 2,160 instance hours. You will not be charged for leader node hours, only compute nodes will incur charges. Charged on backups. Charged for data transfers, only within VPC, not outside. Security. Encrypted in transit using SSL. Encrypted at rest using AES 256 encryption. Takes care of key management by default. Manage your own keys through Hardware Security Module, HSM. AWS Key Management Service. Resource or operation. Default limit. Nodes per cluster. 101. Nodes per cluster. 200. Reserved nodes. 200. Snapshots. 20. Parameter groups. 20. Security groups. 20. Subnet groups. 20. Subnets per subnet group. 20. Event subscriptions. 20. For additional information about Redshift limits, see limits in Amazon Redshift. 19 DMS, Database Migration Service. AWS Database Migration Service helps you migrate databases to AWS easily and securely. The source database remains fully operational during the migration, minimizing downtime to applications that rely on the database. The AWS Database Migration Service can migrate your data to and from most widely used commercial and open source databases. The service supports homogeneous migrations such as Oracle to Oracle, as well as heterogeneous migrations between different database platforms, such as Oracle to Amazon Aurora or Microsoft SQL Server to MySQL. Allows migration of your production DB platforms to AWS or between services like MySQL-and GT PostgreSQL. Once started, AWS manages all the complexities of the migration process like data type transformation, compression, and parallel transfer for faster transfer, while ensuring that data changes to the source database that occur during the migration process are automatically replicated to the target. AWS Schema Conversion Tool automatically converts the source DB schema and a majority of the custom code, including views, stored procedures, and functions to a format compatible with the target DB. 20 Analytics. EMR, Elastic MapReduce. Amazon EMR is a web service that makes it easy to quickly and cost-effectively process vast amounts of data. Not covered as exam topic currently. Resource or operation. Default limit. Resource or operation. Default limit. Replication instances. 20. Total amount of storage. 6 TB. Replication subnet groups. 20. Subnets per replication subnet group. 20. Endpoints. 20. Tasks. 200. Endpoints per instance. 20. Data pipeline. AWS Data Pipeline is a web service that helps you reliably process and move data between different AWS compute and storage services, as well as unstored, transform, and process it at scale, and efficiently transfer the results to AWS services premise data sources, at specified intervals. With AWS Data Pipeline, you can regularly access your data where it's such as Amazon S3, Amazon RDS, Amazon DynamoDB, and Amazon Elastic MapReduce, EMR. Resource or operation. Default limit. Adjustable. Number of pipelines. 100. Yes. Number of objects per pipeline. 100. Yes. Number of active instances per object. 5. Yes. Number of fields per object. 50. No. Number of UTF-8 bytes per field name or identifier. 256. No. Number of UTF-8 bytes per field. 10,240. No. Number of UTF-8 bytes per object. 15,360, including field names. No. Resource or operation. Default limit. Adjustable. Rate of creation of an instance from an object. 1 per 5 minutes. No. Retries of a pipeline activity. 5 per task. No. Minimum delay between retry attempts. 2 minutes. No. Minimum scheduling interval. 15 minutes. No. Maximum number of roll UPS into a single object. 32. No. Maximum number of EC2 instances per EC2 resource object. 1. No. For additional information about data pipeline service limits, see limits in Amazon Data Pipelines. Elasticsearch. Amazon Elasticsearch Service is a managed service that makes it easy to deploy, operate, and scale Elasticsearch in the AWS cloud. Resource or operation. Default limit. Number of Amazon ES instances per cluster. 20. Kinesis. Kinesis is a fully managed service for real-time processing of streaming data at massive scale. Streaming data platform. If any questions reference streaming, think Kinesis. Used to consume big data. Stream large amounts of social media, news feeds, logs, etc. in the cloud. Process large amounts of data. Elastic MapReduce is for big data processing. Business intelligence and reporting would be derived from RedShift. Resource or operation. Default limit. Nodes. Delivery streams per region. 20. Delivery stream capacity. 2000 transaction/second 5000 records/second 5 MB/second. The three capacity limits scale proportionally. For example, if you increase the throughput limit to 10 MB/second, the other limits increase to 4000 transactions/SEC and 10,000 records/section. Resource or operation. Default limit. Notes. Shards per region. US East, US West, EU, 50. All other supported regions, 25. There are 4 different options in AWS Kinesis. For additional information about Kinesis limits, see Firehose limits in Amazon Kinesis and Stream limits in Amazon Kinesis. Machine learning. Amazon Machine Learning is a service that makes it easy for developers of all skill levels to use machine learning technology. Amazon Machine Learning provides visualization tools and wizards that guide you through the process of creating machine learning, ML, models, without having to learn complex ML algorithms and technology. Not covered as exam topic currently. Resource or operation. Default limit. Data file size. 100 GB. Batch prediction input size. 1 TB. Batch prediction input, number of records. 100 million. Number of variables in a data file, schema. 1000. Recipe complexity, number of processed output variables. 10,000. Transactions per second for each real-time prediction endpoint. 200. Resource or operation. Default limit. Total transactions per second for all real-time prediction endpoints. 10,000. Total RAM for all real-time prediction endpoints. 10 GB. Number of simultaneous jobs. 5. Longest runtime for any job. 7 days. Number of classes for multi-class ML models. 100. ML model size. 2 GB. Data file size. Note, the size of your data files is limited to ensure that jobs finish in a timely manner. Jobs that have been running for more than 7 days will be automatically terminated, resulting in a failed status. For additional information about machine learning limits, see limits in Amazon ML. QuickSight. Amazon QuickSight is a very fast, cloud-powered business intelligence service that makes it easy for all employees to build visualizations, perform ad hoc analysis, and quickly get business insights from their data. 21. Security and identity. IAM, Identity and Access Management. AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, enables you to securely control access to AWS services and resources for your users. This topic is covered in AWS Solutions Architect Study Guide. Allows for centralized control and shared access to your AWS account and/or AWS services. By default, when you create a user, they have no permissions to do anything. Root account has full admin access upon account creation. Not region specific, can be shared between all regions. Granular permission sets for AWS resources. Includes federation integration, which taps into Active Directory, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. for authentication. Multi-factor authentication support. Allows configuration of temporary access for users, devices, and services using STS. Set up and manage password policy and password rotation policy for IAM users. Integration with many different AWS services. Supports PCI DSS compliance. Access can be applied to O users, end users, people. O groups, collection of users under one set of permissions. O roles, assigned to AWS resources, specifying what the resource, such as EC2, is allowed to access on another resource, S3. O policies, document that defines one or more permissions. Policies can be applied to users, groups, and roles. You can assign up to 10 policies to a single group. Policy documents must have a version, and a statement in the body. The statement must consist of effects, allow, deny, actions, which action to allow/deny such a asterisk for all actions, and resources, affected resources such as asterisk for all resources. All resources can share the same policy document. There are 3 different types of roles. O service roles. O cross-account access roles. Used when you have multiple AWS accounts and another AWS account must interact with the current AWS account. O identity provider access roles. Roles for Facebook or similar identity providers. In order for a new IAM user to be able to log into the console, the user must have a password set. By default, a new user's access is only accomplished through the use of the access key/secret access key. If the user's password is a generated password, it also will only be shown at the time of creation. Customizable console sign-in link can be configured on the main IAM page, aws.yourdomain.com. Customizable console sign-in links must be globally unique. If a sign-in link name is already taken, you must choose an alternative. Root account is email address that you used to register your account. Recommended that root account is not used for login, and should be secured with multi-factor authentication, MFA. And create access keys/secret access keys to allow IAM users, or service accounts, to be used with AWS CLI or API calls. Access key ID is equivalent to a username, secret access key is equivalent to a password. When creating a user's credentials, you can only see/download the credentials at the time of creation, not after. Access keys can be retired, and new ones can be created in the event that secret access keys are lost. To create a user password, once the users have been created, choose the user you want to set the password for, and from the user actions drop list, click Manage Password. Here you can opt to create a generated or custom password. If generated, there is an option to force the user to set a custom password on next login. Once a generated password has been issued, you can see the password, which is the same as the access keys. It's shown once only. Click on Policies from the left side menu and choose the policies that you want to apply to your users. When you pick a policy that you want applied to a user, select the policy, and then from the top Policy Actions drop menu, choose Attach and select the user that you want to assign the policy to. Resource or operation. Default limit. Groups per account. 100. Instance profiles. 100. Roles. 250. Server certificates. 20. Users. 5,000. Number of policies allowed to attach to a single group. 10. For additional information about IAM limits, see limits in IAM entities and objects. Directory service. AWS Directory Service makes it easy to set up and run Microsoft Active Directory, AD, in the AWS cloud, or connect your AWS resources with an existing on-premises Microsoft Active Directory. Need more information? Resource or operation. Default limit. Simple AD directories. 10. AD connector directories. 10. Manual snapshots. 5 per simple AD. Inspector. Amazon Inspector is an automated agent-based security assessment service that helps improve the security and compliance of applications deployed on AWS. Allows customers to install agents on EC2 instances and inspect the instance for security vulnerabilities. Not covered as exam topic currently. Resource or operation. Default limit. Running agents. 500. Assessment runs. 50,000. Assessment templates. 500. Resource or operation. Default limit. Assessment targets. 50. For additional information about inspector limits, see limits in Amazon Inspector. WAF, Web Application Firewall. AWS WAF is a web application firewall that helps protect your web applications from common web exploits that could affect application availability, compromise security, or consume excessive resources. Allows customers to secure their cloud infrastructure, resource or operation. Default limit. Resource or operation. Default limit. Web ACLs per account. 10. Rules per account. 50. Conditions per account. 50. For additional information about web application firewall service limits, see limits in Amazon WAF. Cloud HSM, Hardware Security Module. The AWS Cloud HSM service helps you meet corporate, contractual, and regulatory compliance requirements for data security by using dedicated Hardware Security Module, HSM, appliances within the AWS cloud. Allows customers to secure their cloud infrastructure, resource or operation. Default limit. HSM appliances. 3. High availability partition groups. 20. Clients. 800. AMS, Key Management Service. AWS Key Management Service, KMS, is a managed service that makes it easy for you to create and control the encryption keys used to encrypt your data, and uses hardware security modules, HSMs, to protect the security of your keys. More information. Resource or operation. Default limit. Customer Master Keys, CMKs. 1000. Aliases. 1100. Grants per CMK. 2500. Grants for a given principal per CMK. 30. Requests per second. Varies by API operation. AMS note, all limits in the preceding table apply per region and per AWS account. For additional information about key management service limits, see limits in Amazon KMS. 22 Management Tools. CloudWatch. Amazon CloudWatch is a monitoring service for AWS cloud resources and the applications you run on AWS. By default, all EC2 instances will have basic monitoring, which is a 5-minute poll. If you want detailed CloudWatch monitoring, you get more graphs at a 1-minute poll interval. Standard monitoring is on by default, 5 minutes intervals. Detailed monitoring is on a 1-minute interval. Detailed monitoring does cost $3.50 per instance per month. CPU/disk/network/in/status metrics are available. RAM is a host-level metric and not available on a per-instance basis. Events can trigger Lambda functions or SNS events based on criteria, which helps you to respond to state changes within your AWS resources. Logs help you to aggregate, monitor, and store log data. Logs can go down to the application level but requires an agent to be installed. Alarms can be set against any metrics that are available, and will perform an alert/notification and an action when the alarm criteria is met. CloudWatch is used for performance monitoring, not auditing. That is what CloudTrail is for. You can create dashboards with custom widgets to keep track of what is happening in your environment. CloudWatch Resource Limit. Default limit. Comments. CloudWatch Resource Limit. Default limit. Comments. Describe alarms. 3 transactions per second, TPS. The max number of operation requests you can make per second without being throttled. Get metric statistics. 400 transactions per second, TPS. The max number of operation requests you can make per second without being throttled. List metrics. 25 transactions per second, TPS. The max number of operation requests you can make per second without being throttled. Put metric alarm. 3 transactions per second, TPS. The max number of operation requests you can make per second without being throttled. Put metric data. 150 transactions per second, TPS. The max number of operation requests you can make per second without being throttled. CloudWatch Event Resource Limit. Default limit. Rules. 50 per account. CloudWatch Logs Resource Limit. Default limit. Comments. Create log group. 500 log group /account /region. If you exceed your log group limit, you get a resource limit exceeded exception. Describe log streams. 5 transactions per second, TPS, /account /region. If you experience frequent throttling, you can request a limit increase. Filter log events. 5 transactions per second, TPS, /account /region. This limit can be changed only in special. CloudWatch Logs Resource Limit. Default limit. Comments. Circumstances. Get log events. 5 transactions per second, TPS, /account /region. We recommend subscriptions if you are continuously processing new data. If you need historical data, we recommend exporting your data to Amazon S3. This limit can be changed only in special circumstances. CloudTrail. AWS CloudTrail is a web service that records AWS API calls for your account and delivers log files to you. Provides way for customers to audit access to what people are doing on the platform in your account. Log file is encrypted by default. OpsWorks. AWS OpsWorks is a configuration management service that helps you configure and operate applications of all shapes and sizes using Chef. Configuration management service which uses Chef in the background. Consists of recipes to maintain a consistent state. Look for term Chef, recipes, or cookbooks. Think OpsWorks. Resource limit. Default limit. Stacks. 40. Layers per stack. 40. Instances per stack. 40. Apps per stack. 40. Config. AWS Config is a fully managed service that provides you with an AWS resource inventory, configuration history, and configuration change notifications to enable security and governance. Provides customer with configuration history, change notifications, and inventory. Can perform tasks such as ensuring that all EBS volumes are encrypted, etc. Service Catalog. AWS Service Catalog allows organizations to create and manage catalogs of IT services that are approved for use on AWS. Create and manage catalogs of services you are allowed to use on AWS. Resource or operation. Default limit. Portfolios. 25 per account. Users, groups, and roles. 25 per portfolio. Products. 25 per portfolio, 25 total per account. Resource or operation. Default limit. Product versions. 50 per product. Constraints. 25 per product per portfolio. Tags. 3 per product, 3 per portfolio, 10 per stack. Stacks. 200, AWS CloudFormation limit. Trusted Advisor. An online resource to help you reduce cost, increase performance, and improve security by optimizing your AWS environment. Trusted Advisor provides real-time guidance to help you provision your resources following AWS best practices. Automated service that scans customer environment and offers advice on how to save money, lock down resources, and report security vulnerabilities. 23 Application Services. API Gateway. Amazon API Gateway is a fully managed service that makes it easy for developers to create, publish, maintain, monitor, and secure APIs at any scale. Create, maintain, publish, monitor, and secure API endpoints at any scale. Can be used as an HTTP interface for Lambda functions. Resource or operation. Default limit. APIs per account. 60. Resource or operation. Default limit. API keys per account. 500. Client certificates per account. 60. Throttle rate. 1K requests per second, RPs, with a burst limit of 2K RPs. Usage plans per account. 300. Custom authorizers per API. 10. Resources per API. 300. Stages per API. 10. For additional information about API gateway limits, see limits in Amazon API Gateway. AppStream 2.0. Amazon AppStream enables you to stream your existing Windows applications from the cloud, reaching more users on more devices, without code modifications. AWS version of XenApp. Steam Windows apps from the cloud. Resource or operation. Default limit. Concurrent streaming sessions per account. 5. Concurrent streaming application deployments using the interactive wizard. 2. Streaming applications in the building, active, or error states. 3. For additional information about AppStream service limits, see limits in Amazon AppStream. Cloud Search. Amazon Cloud Search is a managed service in the AWS cloud that makes it simple and cost-effective to set up, manage, and scale a search solution for your website or application. Makes it simple to manage and scale search across your entire application. Resource or operation. Default limit. Partitions. 10. Search instances. 50. For additional information about Cloud Search service limits, see limits in Amazon Cloud Search. Elastic Transcoder. Amazon Elastic Transcoder is media transcoding in the cloud. It is designed to be a highly scalable, easy to use and a cost-effective way for developers and businesses to convert, or transcode, media files from their source format into versions that will play back on devices like smartphones, tablets and PCs. Media transcoder in the cloud. Convert media files from their original source format to different formats that will play on smartphones, tablets, PCs, etc. Provides transcoding presets for popular output formats, which means you don't need to know or guess with which settings work best on which devices. Pay based on the minutes that you transcode and the resolution at which you transcode. Resource or operation. Default limit. US East, BA, US West, Oregon, EU, Ireland. All others. Pipelines per region. 4. User-defined presets. 50. Max no of jobs processed simultaneously by each pipeline. N/A. 20. 12. For additional information about Elastic Transcoder limits, see limits in Amazon Elastic Transcoder. SES, Simple Email Service. Amazon Simple Email Service, Amazon SES, is a cost-effective email service built on the reliable and scalable infrastructure that Amazon.com developed to serve its own customer base. With Amazon SES, you can send and receive email with no required minimum commitments. You pay as you go, and you only pay for what you use. Resource or operation. Default limit. Daily sending quota. Maximum send rate. 1 email per second. Recipient address verification. All recipient addresses must be verified. Maximum send rate. The rate at which Amazon SES accepts your messages might be less than the maximum send rate. For additional information about simple email service limits, see limits in Amazon SES. SQS, Simple Queue Service. Web service that gives you access to a message queue that can be used to store messages while waiting for a computer to process them. SQS is a distributed queue system that enables applications to quickly and reliably queue messages that one component of the application generates to be consumed by another component. A queue is a temp repository for messages that are waiting processing. Used to allow customers the ability to decouple infrastructure components. Very first service AWS released. Even older than EC2. Messages can contain up to 256 KB of text in any format. Acts as a buffer between the component producing and saving data, and the component receiving and processing the data. Ensures deliver of each message at least once and supports multiple readers and writers interacting with the same queue. A single queue can be used simultaneously by many distributed application components, with no need for those components to coordinate or communicate with each other. Will always be available and deliver messages. Does not guarantee FIFO delivery of messages. Messages can be delivered multiple times and in any order. FIFO is not supported. If sequential processing is a requirement, sequencing information can be placed in each message so that message order can be preserved. SQS always asynchronously pulls messages from the queue. Retention period of 14 days. 12-hour visibility timeout by default. If you find that the default visibility timeout period, 12 hours, is insufficient to fully process and delete the message, the visibility timeout can be extended using the change message visibility action. If the change message visibility action is specified to set an extended timeout period, SQS restarts the timeout period using the new value. Engineered to provide delivery of all messages at least one. Default short polling will return messages immediately if messages exist in the queue. Long polling is a way to retrieve messages from a queue as soon as they are available. Long polling requests don't return a response until a message arrives in the queue. Maximum long poll timeout is 20 seconds. 256 KB message sizes, originally 64 KB. Build for 64 KB chunks. First million messages free, then $0.50 per additional million thereafter. Single request can have from 1 to 10 messages, up to a max payload of 256 KB. Each 64 KB chunk of payload is billed as one request. If you send a single API request with a 256 KB payload, you will be billed for 4 requests, 256/64 KB chunks. Decouple equals SQS on exam. Auto-scaling supported. Message prioritization is supported with SQS FIFO option. Process. O component 1 sends a message to the queue. O component 2 retrieves the message from the queue and starts the visibility timeout period. O visibility timer only starts when the message is picked up from the queue. O component 2 processes the message and then deletes it from the queue during the visibility timeout period. O if the visibility timeout period expires, the message will stay in the queue and not be deleted. O the process is only complete when the queue receives the command to delete the message from the queue. For additional information about SQS limits, see limits in Amazon SQS. SWF, Simple Workflow Service. Simple Workflow Service is a web service that makes it easy to coordinate work across distributed application components. Enabled for a range of uses such as media processing, web backends, business process workflows, and analytics pipelines, all to be designed as a coordination of tasks. Tasks represent invocations of various processing steps in an application which can be performed by code, API calls, human action and scripts. Build, run, and scale background jobs or tasks that have sequential steps. Way to process human-oriented tasks using a framework. SQS has a retention period of 14 days, BSSWF has up to a 1 year for workflow executions. Workflow retention is always shown in seconds, 3.1536 times 10 to the power of 7 seconds. Task could take a month equals SWF, as SQS only has a 14-day retention. Presents a task-oriented API, whereas SQS offers a message-oriented API. Ensures a TX is assigned only once and is never duplicated. SQS duplicate messages are allowed, and must be handled. Keeps track of all tasks and events in an application. SQS would need an implementation of a custom application-level tracking mechanism. A collection of workflows is referred to as a domain. Domains isolate a set of types, executions, and task lists from others within the same account. You can register a domain by using the AWS console or using the register domain action in the SWF API. Domain parameters are specified in JSON format. SWF actors. A workflow starters, an application that can initiate a workflow. O deciders, control the flow or coordination of activity tasks such as concurrency, or scheduling in a workflow execution. If something has finished in a workflow, or fails, a decider decides what to do next. O activity workers, programs that interact with SWF to get tasks, process received tasks, and return the results. Brokers, the interactions between workers and the decider, allows the decider to get consistent views into the progress of tasks and to initiate new tasks in an ongoing manner. Stores tasks, assigns them to workers when they are ready and monitors their progress. Ensures that a task is assigned only once and is never duplicated. Maintains the application state durably. Workers and deciders don't have to keep track of the execution state, and can run independently, with the ability to scale quickly. For additional information about SWF limits, see limits in Amazon SWF. 24 Developer Tools. Code Commit. AWS Code Commit is a fully managed source control service that makes it easy for companies to host secure and highly scalable private Git repositories. AWS implementation of Git. Resource or operation. Default limit. Number of repositories per account. 1000. For additional information about Code Commit service limits, see limits in Amazon Code Commit. Code Deploy. AWS Code Deploy is a service that automates code deployments to any instance, including Amazon EC2 instances and instances running on premises. Automate code deployments, AWS CI/CD service. Resource or operation. Default limit. Number of applications under an account in a single region. 40. Number of concurrent deployments under an account. 10. Number of deployment groups associated with a single application. 50. Number of instances in a single deployment. 50. For additional information about Code Deploy service limits, see limits in Amazon Code Deploy. Code Pipeline. AWS Code Pipeline is a continuous delivery service for fast and reliable application updates. Code Pipeline builds, tests, and deploys your code every time there is a code change, based on the release process models you define. Build, test, and deploy code based on commits. Resource or operation. Default limit. Number of pipelines per AWS account. 20. Number of stages in a pipeline. Minimum of 2, maximum of 10. Number of actions in a stage. Minimum of 1, maximum of 20. Number of parallel actions in a stage. 5. Number of sequential actions in a stage. 5. Number of custom actions per AWS account. 20. Resource or operation. Default limit. Maximum number of revisions running across all pipelines. 20. Maximum size of source artifacts. 500 megabytes, MB. Maximum number of times an action can be run per month. 1000 per calendar month. For additional information about Code Pipeline service limits, see limits in Amazon Code Pipelines. Service limit changes. It may take up to 2 weeks to process requests for a limit increase. 25 Mobile services. Mobile Hub. AWS Mobile Hub lets you easily add and configure features for your mobile apps, including user authentication, data storage, backend logic, push notifications, content delivery, and analytics. After you build your app, AWS Mobile Hub gives you easy access to testing on real devices, as well as analytics dashboards to track usage of your app, all from a single, integrated console. Build, run, and test usage of your mobile applications. Not covered as exam topic currently. Cognito. Amazon Cognito lets you easily add user sign up and sign in to your mobile and web apps. With Amazon Cognito, you also have the options to authenticate users through social identity providers such as Facebook, Twitter, or Amazon, with SAML identity solutions, or by using your own identity system. In addition, Amazon Cognito enables you to save data locally on users' devices, allowing your applications to work even when the devices are offline. You can then synchronize data across users' devices so that their app experience remains consistent regardless of the device they use. Save mobile data like game states or preferences. Device Farm. AWS Device Farm is an app testing service that lets you test and interact with your Android, iOS, and web apps on many devices at once, or reproduce issues on a device in real time. View video, screenshots, logs, and performance data to pinpoint and fix issues before shipping your app. Enables customers to test their mobile applications against real smartphones in the cloud. Not covered as exam topic currently. Resource or operation. Default limit. App file size you can upload. 4 GB. Number of devices AWS Device Farm can test during a run. 5, which can be increased to 1K upon request. Number of devices you can include in a test run. None. Resource or operation. Default limit. Number of runs you can schedule. None. Duration of a remote access session. 60 minutes. Mobile Analytics. With Amazon Mobile Analytics, you can measure app usage and app revenue. By tracking key trends such as new versus returning users, app revenue, user retention, and custom in-app behavior events, you can make data-driven decisions to increase engagement and monetization for your app. Measure mobile application usage, revenue, and track new/returning users, etc. Not covered as exam topic currently. SNS, Simple Notification Service. Simple Notification Service is a web service that makes it easy to set up, operate, and send notifications from the cloud. It provides developers with a highly scalable, flexible, and cost-effective capability to publish messages from an application and immediately deliver them to subscribers or other applications. Web service that allows customers to set up, operate, and send notifications from the cloud. Can push to Apple, Google, Fire OS, and Windows devices, as well as Android devices in China with Baidu Cloud Push. Follows the publish-subscribe, pub-sub, messaging paradigm, with notifications being delivered to clients using a push mechanism that eliminates the need to poll for updates. Can deliver notifications by SMS, email, SQSQs, or any HTTP endpoint. SNS notifications can be used to trigger Lambda functions. When a message is published to an SNS topic that has a Lambda function subscribed to it, the function is invoked with the payload of the published message. The Lambda function would receive the message payload as an input parameter, and can manipulate the info in the message, publish the message to other SNS topics or send the message to other AWS services. Allows you to group multiple recipients using topics. Topics are access points for allowing recipients to dynamically subscribe for copies of the notification. One topic can support deliveries to multiple endpoint types, for example, iOS, Android, and SMS recipients can be grouped together. When message is published, SNS delivers appropriately formatted copies of your message to each subscriber. Email notifications will be JSON formatted, not XML. Subscriptions have to be confirmed. Subscription expire after 3 days if they are not confirmed. TTL is the number of seconds since the message was published. If the message is not delivered within the TTL time, then the message will expire. To prevent messages from being lost, all messages published to SNS are stored redundantly across multiple AZs. Instantaneous, push-based delivery, no polling, and GTSQS requires polling. Simple API and easy integration with applications. Flexible message deliver over multiple transport protocols. Inexpensive, pay-as-you-go model. Web-based AWS Management Console offers simplicity of point-and-click interface. $0.50 per million SNS requests. $0.06 per 100,000 notification deliveries over HTTP. 0.75 cents per 100 notifications over SMS. $2 per 100,000 notification deliveries over email. Can be used in conjunction with SQS to fan a single message out to multiple SQS queues. Remember, OSNS, push. OSQS, pull. Subscribers. OHTTP. OHTTPS. OEmail. OEmail JSON. OSQS. OApplication. OLambda. Messages can be customized for each of the available protocols. Resource or operation. Default limit. Topics. 100,000. Account spend threshold for SMS. $50. Delivery rate for promotional SMS messages. 20 messages per second. Delivery rate for transactional SMS messages. 20 messages per second. 26 enterprise applications. Workspaces. Amazon Workspaces is a fully managed, secure desktop computing service which runs on the AWS cloud. Amazon Workspaces allows you to easily provision cloud-based virtual desktops and provide your users access to the documents, applications, and resources they need from any supported device, including Windows and Mac computers, Chromebooks, iPads, Fire tablets, and Android tablets. Virtual Desktop Infrastructure, VDI, that provides a bundle of compute resources, storage space, and software application access that allow a user to interact with just as a traditional desktop. Users can connect to a workspace from any supported device, PC, Mac, Chromebook, iPad, Kindle Fire, or Android, using a free workspace client application. Can be integrated into Active Directory using federated services. Runs Windows 7 provided by Windows Server 2008 R2. Users can personalize their workspace with their favorite settings for items such as wallpaper, icons, shortcuts, etc. This can be locked down by an administrator. By default, you will be given local admin access so you can install your own applications. Workspaces are persistent. All data on the d:/ is backed up every 12 hours. Resource or operation. Default limit. Comments. Workspaces. 5. To prevent denial of service attacks, accounts new to the Amazon Workspaces service are limited to 5 workspaces. For additional information about Workspaces limits, see Limits in Amazon Workspaces. WorkDocs. Amazon WorkDocs is a fully managed, secure enterprise storage and sharing service with strong administrative controls and feedback capabilities that improve user productivity. AWS version of Dropbox for the enterprise. Not covered as exam topic currently. Workmail. Amazon Workmail is a secure, managed business email and calendar service with support for existing desktop and mobile email clients. AWS version of Exchange Server for email services. Not covered as exam topic currently. 27 Well-architected framework. Consists of 5 pillars. Security. Apply security at all layers. Enable traceability. Automate response to security events. Focus on securing your system. Automate security best practices. Encrypt your data both in transit and at rest using ELB, EBS, S3 and RDS. Use IAM and MFA for privilege management. Security in the cloud has 4 areas. Data protection. Organize and classify your data into segments such as public, available only to org/department/user. Implement a least privilege access system so people can only access what they need. Encrypt everything where possible, whether it be at rest or in transit. Customers maintain full control of your data. AWS makes it easy to manage keys using KMS or KMSC. Detailed logging is available that contains important content such as file access and changes. Designed storage systems for exceptional resiliency. S3 is designed for 11/9's durability. If you store 10K objects on S3, you can on average expect to incur a loss of a single object once every 10 million years. Versioning which can protect against accidental overwrites, deletes, and similar harm. AWS never initiates the movement of data between regions. Content placed in a region will remain in that region, unless manually moved. Privilege management ensures that only authorized and authenticated users are able to access your resources. Mechanisms in place such as ACLS, role-based access controls, password management such as password rotation policies. Infrastructure protection. How do you protect your data center? RFID controls. Security. Lockable cabinets. CCTV. Amazon handles all of the physical, really customer is responsible for VPC protection. Enforce network and host level boundary protection. Enforce the integrity of the OS, updates, patches, and antivirus. Detective controls. Detect or identify a security breach. Tools available to help with this are CloudTrail, CloudWatch, AWS Config, S3, Glacier. O reliability. Ability of a system to recover from a service or infrastructure outage/disruptions. Ability to dynamically acquire computing resources to meet demand. Test recovery procedures. Automatically recover from failure. Scale horizontally to increase aggregate system availability. Stop guessing capacity. Consists of 3 areas. Foundations. Make sure that you have the prerequisite foundations in place. Consider the size of communication links between HQ and data centers. Misprovisioning connections could result in 3 to 6 upgrade time frames. AWS handles most of the foundations for you. The cloud is designed to be essentially limitless, meaning that AWS handles the networking and compute requirements themselves. They set service limits to limit accidental spin-up of too many resources. Change management. Be aware of how change affects a system so you can plan proactively around it. Monitoring allows you to detect any changes to your environment and react. Traditionally, change control is done manually and carefully coordinated with auditing. CloudWatch can be configured to monitor your environment and services such as auto-scaling, to automate change in response to changes in your prod environment. Failure management. Always architect your system with the assumption that failure will occur. Become aware of these failures, how they occurred, how to respond to them, and then plan on how to prevent them in the future. Performance efficiency. Focuses on how to use computing resources efficiently to meet requirements. How to maintain that efficiency as demand changes and technology evolves. Democratize advanced technologies, consume as service vs setup and maintain. Go global in minutes. Use serverless architectures. Experiment more often. Consists of 4 areas. Compute. Choose the right kind of server. AWS servers are virtualized, and at the click of a button you can change server types. You can even switch to running with no servers, and use Lambda. Storage. Optimal storage solutions for your environment depend on access methods, block, file, or object, patterns of access, throughput, frequency of access, frequency of update, availability constraints, and durability constraints. S3 has 11x9's durability and cross-region replication. EBS has different mediums such as magnetic, SSD, or provisioned IOPS SSD. Can easily switch between different mediums. Databases. Optimal database solution depends on number of factors. Do you need database consistency, high availability, NoSQL, DR, relational tables? Lots of options: RDS, DynamoDB, RedShift, etc. Space-time trade-off. Using services such as RDS to add RED replicas reduces the load of your database and creates multiple copies of the data to help lower latency. You can use Direct Connect to provide predictable latency between HQ and AWS. Use the global infrastructure to have copies of environment in regions closest to where your customer base is located. Caching services such as Elastic or CloudFront to reduce latency. Cost optimization. Reduce cost to minimum and use those savings for other parts of your business. Allows you pay the lowest price possible while still achieving your business objectives. Transparently attribute expenditure. Use managed services to reduce the cost of ownership. Trade capital expense for operating expense. Benefit from economies of scale. AWS buys servers by the thousands. Stop spending money on data center operations. Design principles. Stop guessing your capacity needs. Test systems at production scale. Lower the risk of architecture change. Automate to make architectural experimentation easier. Allow for evolutionary architectures. Comprised of 4 different areas. Matched supply and demand. Align supply with demand. Don't over or under provision, instead expand as demand grows. Auto-scaling or Lambda execute or respond when a request comes in. Services such as CloudWatch can help you keep track as to what your demand is. Cost-effective resources. Use correct instance type. Well-architected system will use the most cost-efficient resources to reach the end business goal. Expenditure awareness. No longer need to get quotes for physical servers, choosing a supplier, have resources delivered, installed, manufactured, etc. Can provision things within seconds. Be aware of what each team is spending and where is crucial to any well-architected system. Use cost allocation tags to track this, billing alerts as well as consolidated billing. Optimizing over time. A service that you chose yesterday may not be the best service to be using today. Constantly re-evaluate your existing architecture. Subscribe to the AWS blog. Use Trusted Advisor. 28 White Paper Review. 6 Advantages of Cloud. Trade capital expense for variable expense. Benefit from massive economies of scale. Stop guessing about capacity. Increase speed and agility. Stop spending money running and maintaining data centers. Go global in minutes. 22 regions, 69 of AZs, as on August 5, 2019. Storage devices uses .5220.22m or NIST 800-88 to destroy data when a device has reached the end of its useful life. All decommissioned magnetic storage devices are degaussed and physically destroyed in accordance with industry standard practices. VPC provides a private subnet within the cloud and the ability to use an IPsec VPN to provide an encrypted tunnel between the VPC and your data center. AWS Prod is segregated from the AWS corporate network by means of a complex set of network security/segregation devices. Provides protection against DDoS, man-in-the-middle attacks, IP spoofing, port scanning, and packet sniffing by other tenants. AWS has a host-based firewall infrastructure that will not permit an instance to send traffic with a source IP or MAC address other than its own, which prevents IP spoofing. Unauthorized port scans by EC2 customers are a violation of the acceptable use policy. You may request permission to conduct vulnerability scans as required to meet your specific compliance requirements. Any pre-approved vulnerability scans must be limited to your own instances and must not violate the acceptable use policy. You must request a vulnerability scan in advance. Password for root or IAM user accounts into the console should be protected by MFA. Use access keys to access AWS APIs, using AWS SDK, CLI, REST/query APIs. Use SSH key pairs to log into EC2 instances, or CloudFront signed URLs. Use X.509 certs to tighten security of your application/CloudFront via HTTPS. Trusted Advisor inspects your environment and makes recommendations when opportunities exist to save money, improve system performance, or close security gaps. Different instances running on the same physical machine are isolated from each other via the Xen hypervisor. AWS Firewall resides within the hypervisor layer, between the physical network and the instance's virtual interface. All packets must pass through this layer. Any instance's neighbors have no more access to the instance than any other host on the internet and can be treated as if they are separate hosts. Physical RAM is separated using similar mechanisms. Customer instances have no access to raw disk devices, but instead are presented with virtualized disks. AWS proprietary disk virtualization layer automatically resets every block of storage used by the customer, so that one customer's data is never unintentionally exposed to another. Memory allocated to guests is scrubbed, set to 0, by the hypervisor when it is unallocated to a guest. Memory is not returned to the pool of free memory available for new allocations until the memory scrub process has completed. Virtual instances are completely controlled by you, the customer. You have full root access or administrative control over accounts, services, and applications. AWS does not have any access rights to any instance or guest OS. EC2 provides a complete firewall solution. The inbound firewall is configured in a default deny any mode, and EC2 customers must explicitly open the ports needed to allow inbound traffic. Encryption of sensitive data is generally a good practice, and AWS provides the ability to encrypt EBS volumes and their snapshots with AES 256. The encryption occurs on the servers that host the EC2 instances and EBS storage. EBS encryption feature is only available on EC2's more powerful instance types, M3, C3, R3, G2. SSL termination on ELB is supported and recommended. X forwarded for headers enabled, passes real IP from LBs to web servers. You can procure rack space within the facility housing the AWS Direct Connect location and deploy your equipment nearby. Once deployed, you can connect to this equipment to AWS Direct Connect using Cross Connect. Using 802.1q VLAN's dedicated connections can be partitioned into multiple virtual interfaces. This allows you to use the connection to access public resources such as objects stored in S3 using public IP address space, and private resources such as EC2 instances running within the VPC private IP space, while maintaining network separation between public and private environments. AWS management re-evaluates the strategic business plan at least biannually. AWS Security regularly scans all internet-facing service endpoint IP addresses for vulnerabilities. These do not include customer instances. External vulnerability threat assessments are performed regularly by independent security firms, and their findings are passed to management. Data center security. State-of-the-art electronic surveillance and MF access control. Staffed 24/7 by security guards. Access is authorized on a least privilege basis. Compliance. SOC 1/SSAE 16/ISAE 3402, formerly SAS 70 Type 2. SOC 2. SOC 3. FISMA, DIACAP, and FedRAMP. PCI DSS Level 1. ISO 27001. ISO 9001. HIPAA. Cloud Security Alliance, CSA. Motion Picture Association of America, MPAA. ITAR. FIPS 140-2. DSS 1.0. Data Security. Shared Security Model. AWS. Responsible for securing the underlying infrastructure. Responsible for protecting the global infrastructure that runs all of the services offered on the AWS cloud. Infrastructure comprised of hardware, software, networking, and facilities that run AWS services. responsible for the security configuration of its products that are considered managed services, such as DynamoDB, RDS, RedShift, Elastic MapReduce, Lambda, and Workspaces. User, responsible for anything put on the cloud. EC2, VPC, S3 security configuration and management tasks. Account management, MFA, SSL, TLS, CloudTrail API/user activity logging. 29 additional notes. RT53, use name for ELP. RT53, choose alias, especially for Apex. RT53, routing policies, simple, weighted, latency, failover, geolocation, geoproximity. S3 durability, 11 to 9's availability, 4 to 9's, RRS 4 to 9's durability, IA 3 to 9's availability. S3 0 byte 5 TB, 100 MB and multi-part upload. S3 eventual consistent, overwrite puts and deletes. S3 versioning and MFA delete. S3 server encryption, SSE S3, SSE KMS, SSEC. S3 put/request headers, authorization, expires, cache control, host, date, content encoding, content length, content type, content MD5, XAMS content SHA-256, XAMS date, XAMS security token, XAMS storage class, XAMS meta HTTP 200 upload successful. RDS supports MariaDB, PostgreSQL, MySQL, SQL, Oracle, Aurora. RDS auto backup 5 minute 35 days, suspend IO for minutes. Aurora, 6 copies of data 2*3 equals 6 AZ. RedShift, 1 MB block size. SQL Express 10 GB. SQL can't increase storage. MySQL port 3306. DynamoDB name and value and LT 400 KB. DynamoDB post methods, post, content type, XAMS state, target. VPC, region and GT VPC and GT IGW and VPG and GT root and GTAZ and GT NACL, SL, and GT subnet and GT SG, SF, and GT EC2. VPC, minimum size of a subnet is A/28, or 14 IP addresses. VPC, 20 EC2 instances by default, can increase. VPC dedicated, can't change, modes, dedicated and host. VPC, AWS reserve first 4 and last IP addresses in each subnet, total 5. NAT, disable source/destination. DIRG. EC2, metadata, curl http://169.254.169.254/latest/meta-data. EBS, 1 TB max file size. AMI copy, manual, launch permissions, S3 permissions, user-defined tags. SQS size, 1 KB 256 KB, not encrypted. SQS delay 0 to 15 minutes, wait 0-20 SEC, visibility timeout, 0-12 HRS, retention, 1 minute, 14 days. SWF, starters, deciders, worker. Web app firewall, string, IP, size constraint, SQL injection, cross-site conditions. 30 summary. I have tried to include and update knowledge area. I do not claim that all information is accurate. In case of doubt, please refer to AWS documentation. Thanks for your time and hope these notes are helpful to you. Your comment and feedback are welcome. Be safe and take care. Bye bye.